Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jon Rognerud, founder of chaosmap.com. Happy Saturday to you here. Just getting a quick broadcast in. I promised this yesterday, and I wanted to get it pushed out here today because, frankly, this ties into everything that we've been talking about lately. And it's important that we tie this together in this series of broadcasts because, as I said, we've talked about, keywords, we've talked about content, we've talked about link building a bit, we've talked about tool sets, we've talked about Chrome plugins for productivity and just sort of general, well-being in terms of getting those implemented and set up for your business and really for your individual desktops. So as we do all this, though, it's all for naught if we don't have a proper optimization strategy in terms of applying not only keywords but building content around that. In the SEO world, you will hear the word on-page factors, right? Or the words, rather. So this is anything you do to enhance the experience for search engines and users. And typically I like to say users and search engines because ultimately, as you optimize and correct and tune your content for users, search engines typically follow. So without further ado, this is the content optimization tips and insider information for taking all the information you've learned about now and actually apply it onto your pages. And I had spoken about this at a conference up in Las Vegas for 200 Amazon sellers. I think I said buyers yesterday, but they're essentially sellers. And that's you too, right? And if you have a website and you're trying to sell anything online, or you have an e-store or e-commerce store, of course, very much applies to here. But you'll see some examples from Amazon here today. And here we go. So this is an example from Visiture. And here's a perfect layout or structure of how you might see a particular Amazon page, right? It's a buy page where the product descriptions are outlined nice and clearly. The headlines are using keywords. The bullets are being applied with not only details about the product in specific, but also laid out with model numbers and specific sizes and details around these products to really help it get found in the search engine of Amazon, right? So we know that pictures are a highlight really of anything online because we're visual human beings, right? That's kind of the nature of human beings. So you want high quality pictures. If you have structured everything correctly, but your pictures are kind of shabby, well, this is your store, right? You need it to be a highly engaging, positive and professional experience. So the headline on this screenshot, if you're coming in obviously on the live page on Facebook or on YouTube, you'll see that this says polish your Amazon product listings, right? So it needs to be polished. And if you're coming in on the media and marketing broadcast, that is my podcast up there. Thank you very much for listening today. Appreciate all that you do. Ultimately, you can access this on YouTube and also Facebook Live, as I said. And if you send a support email, support@chaosmap.com, that's chaosmap.com, I'll make sure that you get these slides if you ask for it. Basically, the essential takeaway from this page is that you use the keywords in a logical manner that is laid out in a very easy to consume manner or way as well, and that you also leverage the product description area. That's really a moment to shine because you're not stuffing keywords here. We talked about what not to do with this, right? You're basically trying to describe this in a way that the visitor can consume it easily, but also understand that you really are spending some time to get this information right, because a click away is your competitor, right? Or a search away. So you want this to be done right. And we also know that the price points matter, There's going to be that notion of, product plus free shipping conversation, right? There's going to be the urgency conversation. How limited is this as well, right? So there's many techniques in sort of your quiver, if you will, from traditional copywriting to just using sort of the old almost like QVS type style advertising or positioning of your products to get them to take action. And this is really, really key. So again, basically sprinkling in your keywords here in a natural, not forceful or weird manner is definitely essential, and that you also get that into the headline. Next, I wanted to talk a little bit about how do we get keywords pulled out from our base. We saw in the earlier podcast how to use some of the tool sets and some of the strategy for building this, what I call data collection, into your Excel sheet or Google Sheets, right? Well, you can continue this by really escalating the notion of that long tail strategy that I talked about. And a great way to do that is to see what people are typing into the search engines. And there's a tool called answerthepublic.com. We're seeing an image on that on the screen right now. And I just used vitamins as sort of a core example. I typed in vitamins right there. And you can see that it has subsections: will, can, where, which, who, what, when, why, how, are. And so on the right-hand side, I extracted some of those keywords. Why vitamins are important, why vitamins are good for you, why are they bad, useless, make me sleepy, don't work, why are they called protective food, they are important for your body, and the vitamins should be taken with food. Why? That's just the one section of the why subcontext, right? So there's just an amazing amount of data points that you can leverage here to essentially put into your product descriptions and to your product pages, and really any asset that you're trying to optimize for, so that you never run out of content or ideas. And here's where things can get also kind of complex, right? Because you can just sort of be overwhelmed by all this information. Start simple, right? So if you're looking, for this vitamins example, run the list through Answer the Public on top of the tools that I already shared with you, and then get some further ideas for content that could be structured around this particular element, right, or whatever that phrase is. So take a look at that and see what you get. But very exciting Answer the Public, and if you haven't heard about it, it's a free and paid tool as well. Now, overall, in anything that you do online, I talked a little bit about the copywriting and the ways in which you can create urgency and sort of timely offers, etc. Well, when it comes to anything organic and paid online, there's basically what I'm presenting here is what I call the wisest marketing approach. And so if you think here from the left-hand side, if you think about the message, which has to be positioned for a specific market. We talk a lot about targeting over your market, right? So that message matches that market. Well, then we need to have a solid offer that complements that, right? And offer structures should be considered one of your core exercises to get all of this to work. Because if you have a good message and you have a good market and you've done a fair job there, right? Actually, maybe you've done an excellent job there, but your offer sucks. Well, guess what's going to happen? You're going to blame your media buyer or your person who drives traffic, because you know that your message is working. You're getting great feedback. The market is basically telling you, thank you for sharing your message, but they're not buying. Well, it's in your offer, stupid, right? You've probably heard that before. You're not stupid. You get my drift. So the message, the market, the offer, and then, of course, delivery. So whether that's physical or if that delivery is over time spread out maybe into a membership, right? Continuity programs, et cetera, et cetera. So when you look at this and you understand this, you also understand that there's a lot of complexity in all of this. Marketing at this level is not, it's simple, but it's not easy, right? So what you want to do is make sure that you spend your time wisely. And so message, market, and offer, spend more time on that than the actual delivery. And actually, I rephrase this. Delivery, what I meant to say is, yes, there's a delivery notion of the physical aspect and the virtual, but the delivery as in presenting this information. So let's say that you are running Facebook ads, right? Got your message, you got your market, you got your offer, everything's looking good, but then you don't have a an expert to help you in that delivery to make sure that the ads are presented in the best way possible, that the creatives are working in the best way possible, and that you're basically leveraging anything that you can within that system. And we call this tactics, right? Well, then you are basically doing everything right except for actually getting it out to the people in the best way possible using Facebook ads. So anyway, this is a very important slide here, and to get this right. And by the way, at the firm, we work on all these things with you and for you so that you can get the best result using, Facebook, Google, YouTube, any of these platforms for advertising, but also your corporate website. How we position this and how we get this traffic in and what we can turn it into is all the things we talk about through our strategy development and our own internal process and our systems that we share with you. So if we talk about keywords then, basically to summarize, we want to find the appropriate keywords for us, for our products, for our services, and that it matches the user's intent. Then we want to select those and basically theme them out. So we create topical grids essentially for what those should look like. And then we apply those. That's what we've been talking about today, about content and spreading that naturally into your page and listings, right? And then, of course, you're reviewing the on-page factors, and specifically when we're talking about your website and SEO controls, then we want to look at things like the H1 tags, the meta description tags. We want to look at image attributes. We want to look at the entire copy, the structure, the layout, the keywords inclusions, links, intralinks, etc. So basically, find, select, apply, and review is what we do here for the keywords process. And I wanted to put this in here because you hear a lot about this. The idea that you develop quality content is well and understood, but a lot of folks want to shortcut this, and so they use things like, and what I have up on the screen here is, bot chief and spinner chief and email scrape chief and content bomb and black bulk email. There's a lot of what we call black hat tools, right, to try and shortcut and automate this. Duplicate sniper. Well, actually, that could be a good tool. You want to check for duplicate content. I was just going to say that because it creates duplicate content not only on your site, if that's what you're using this for, but also out on the interwebs. And the quality and the recognition of that by search engine is going to be low to nil, and even will get expelled, right? Meaning it's going to be filtered and have no value for you. So you're creating busyness, but not business, right? So you can't really consider this to be a strategy in your world. But we look at a lot of these tools because we want to know if there's any ways that we can use that for one of our power tools or get ideas for things that we develop ourselves, because we have been doing software development now for over 10 years, and that's basically what we're saying here. So don't do this content spinning. And I also wanted to say that there are some supporting tools that we also use here. And one of the tools is SERPstat. You should consider that as well. It's great for SEO, gives you a great spread of keywords and shows you keyword difficulty, volume, cost, competition in pay-per-click. It's a really cool tool. And as I said before, a cool is just a means to an end. And so basically what you need to do is make sure that you build out your strategy first and then apply these principles as I've shared them here today, and use supporting tools that you find useful as well. Now here's one of the things that I talked about earlier for Amazon in the previous broadcast. These are keyword tools and supporting tools to help build essentially a strategy for you to apply keywords to pages, to product listings, and really develop an arsenal of things that you can use going forward, because this is not a once and done thing, right? It's basically something that you need to consider ongoing, because this work never stops. It's ongoing, never stops, guys. And that's why you may want to consider help on this. And of course, if you go to chaosmap.com, chaosmap.com, you'll see a big old red button on there with a case study that we did for an event. Actually, it was quite successful using Facebook ads and Google ads. And the thing that we do at the agency is we build out strategies that help you support very specific goals for growth in your organization. Now, as I said, the tools, the strategies are important, but there's nothing more important than actually looking at data. Data drives everything we do, and seeing results from user activity. And so one of the things you can do, I talked a little bit about this in the last broadcast, is to take the keyword pool that you've developed and start testing them within the Amazon ecosystem. So for Amazon PPC, this is the Amazon Advertising Console now, as it's called. It used to be called AMS. And here you can advertise with intent, which is such a strong word. It's basically, a psychological trigger for somebody who's looking for what you have to get that right attraction in and get the engagement that you want. So definitely kick off. If you're brand new, there's like a $50 gift certificate, I think, there to get started. And start running some of these keywords. And again, don't run the word watch, right? We talked about that in the previous broadcast. We talked about long tail. Start testing some of these words. But, these phrases essentially are going to reveal themselves to you by virtue of you running it internally to the system. So you have an incredible market intelligence engine here to help you along. And we talk about Facebook a lot, of course, absolutely incredible, especially for the level of hyper-targeting that you can get here, even though Facebook themselves, the corporation, has come under a lot of scrutiny for all their different ways in which, privacies and, personal access to data seemingly have been, attacked by, senators and the government. They still are very much a player. And here we're looking at an example that we did for retargeting for lead gen for global Fortune 500 companies. Essentially, we're running traffic to meet that target. This was last year. And then we're retargeting and re-showing them, if you will, a different version of the ad with some clear call to actions here. And for a while, there was the black and white and sort of lifestyle option that seemed to pull well. And I don't have the stats on this particular ad right here that we're looking at, but this is more for purposes of describing a retargeting mechanism and that you actually have that ability right now. And if you're not using this, I mean, you could see 70 to 80% of your business coming in just from retargeting strategies. The idea of cold traffic, warm traffic, and hot traffic is always discussed for lead generation and sales and positioning your message through a sequence. But ultimately, you want to make sure that you're trying to sell the people that know, like, and trust you. When you ultimately think about marketing, it's getting attention first, right? Then it's building that trust, and then really asking for permission. This is a great way to not only sell your wares, but it's a logical and psychological way in which you can engage your audience in a much more natural, non-forced, salesy, in-your-face kind of pitching way, right? So think about that. And times are changing. We know that ad prices are going up, CPMs are rising, inventories are being sold out, etc. And as I've said before, you don't want to just think about these tools as a sort of a quick win, but you want to talk about the customer experience. It's all about the journey for the customer. So I talked about Answer the Public. I've talked about BuzzSumo a little bit. I've talked about Paper.li. I talked about Google similar pages, Chrome plugins, chatbots, Echo Voice, etc. A lot of tools here to help you sort of think of avenues to drive traffic in, and looking at the competition is, of course, a great way for you to mirror similar strategies for your own business. We don't like to talk about copy. We talk really about modeling, right? So if you see something working in the marketplace, why not take some of the best things that they're doing and enhance it and create that in your way? Now you add all of this together with these keyword strategies and these content strategies and this way of optimizing content, you really got something. This is what we do for clients. This is what we consider to be best practices as well, a non-black hat manner for you to drive traffic all across the web to your website, to your YouTube channel, to your podcast like this one right here. We're talking at Media and Marketing Podcast. And really any asset that you have online has the ability to get traffic to it. and how you create that in terms of a next step in the sequence for the user is going to be important, right? You don't want to just say, hey, I got my new traffic to YouTube going up and up and up and up. I'm being ranked everywhere, but people are not buying. People are not engaging. Well, there's something wrong with your content at that point, and certainly the next step in your cycle. So this has got to be all mapped out. And one of the things that is happening, of course, in the space of Google is the notion of ad bots. It's like basically automatic ways in which Google basically creates less work for the advertiser or for the media buyer by suggesting and recommending and adjusting bids for particular keywords, right? And so here we see an example. This went live last year in March, actually 2018. We call this enhanced cost per click bidding. Actually, we don't call it that. Google calls it that. And ECPS is basically an automatic adjustment of your manual bids. And what basically Google is doing here is it's looking at its vast ecosystem, and specifically for this keyword pool that you're going after, to find stuff that's actually working or not working. Meaning, if you have a dollar bid for a particular keyword using this mechanism, it may actually bid $1.70 or $1.80 or even $2 to get that lead or sale or that conversion, right? You got to set up conversion tracking. That's another topic. But essentially, Google is helping you to get leads and business into your world by using this auto bidding. And this is where the conversation takes a turn to where, well, if this is the direction all these engines are taking, is a media buyer going to be extinct in a year or two or three, right? Well, that's not going to happen because these engines can only do so much. The fact that we have a human brain and that we build strategies and we understand marketplaces and business and people and communication and psychology is a whole new world that these machines are not going to get to anytime soon. So I would just be excited to see these improvements and see how you can work within them, right? You want to leverage this for your own business and for yourself. So I hope that this has been helpful today. I've been kind of quick going through here, but I wanted to get this out today. And this kind of concludes the series from my presentation up in Las Vegas, where I spoke to 200 Amazon sellers on how to optimize content, keywords, links. We talked about that as well, paid and organic media, and how to drive traffic ultimately through these multiple strategies. And so within this, of course, there's a lot of things we can extract, but if you find something that really is, resonates with you or that you have more questions about, feel free to input that in the comment section, or share this or ask questions. Or you can go to chaosmap.com/talk, chaosmap.com/talk, and set up a 15-20 minute, really it's just a short session to try and help you and answer some questions to see if there's a match. We can definitely talk about potential opportunities to work together, but the idea is that you go there and get some of these questions answered, because clearly these presentations, as I'm making, there is a lot of information here, and not everything's going to apply to you. Some of it's going to maybe fly over your head, or some of these strategies are going to be really interesting that you hadn't considered or thought about, and so we can jump on and talk about that as well. So either way, I really hope that you take action on some of these items. I really enjoy making these for you, and I'll see you in the next broadcast.